Yes, so let me mention certain other block elements for you to see so that you can experiment with those. So example of another block element is, or a block tag, if you could see, is a p tag. Doesn't come with a question mark. Come on. Yeah, so a p tag is also a block element. So whatever you type in a p tag, it gets its own a default border, a default margin and padding, and then it gets its own line. So whatever you type there is a block element. And then there's also a tag called block quote. Yeah, block quote. Block quote is also a block element, or if I could say a block tag. Okay, and then there are others, if I can remember them. We've got table. Yeah, we'll do tables later, but I just want to mention this. So we have tables, and then we have I think section. Yep, section should be one of them. So if I say section, then I can say main and cool. Yeah, but I'll leave it like that. You can open this website. It's a cool website, W3 Schools. Right, in W3 Schools they list they give good notes, so you can go there for your research. So that is where I go for most of my research, W3 Schools and other websites, right? So you can, most of the times what you have to do is just be researching and be learning from online. So when you open W3 Schools, you can then come here. We've spoken about heading paragraphs with a p tag, and then with styles and formatting. So I just wanted to see if you could see block and inline, and then there it is. You can click on it, and then it takes us straight to these block level elements. And as you can see, as I showed you, p tag is a block element, div is also block. And then examples, well, they didn't even give, oh yeah, they did. So address, article, aside, footer, all these are block elements, right? Block level elements. And then we have inline. Okay, so let's go back and learn about the inline. So for the inline, we've got, and let me mention a few. Okay, let me actually specify here with a comment that what we are learning is what block level elements. Well, if I could type, right? Yes, block level elements, and then I'll copy this comment because I don't want to type it out all again, and then paste it here, and I'll say inline, right? Inline good level element. And then here I'll give examples of inline elements. So we have span. We've not looked at span, but span is a new tag. Span. So we've got span, we've got anchor tags. Let me write it below like how I did for the right. So we have anchor tags, we've got sub. So the sub and then the sub tags that I showed you above, they are also inline elements. Okay, so we have this and we have that. Excuse me. And then we have that, right? These are all inline elements. And also the small that we saw was also an inline element. The small we saw, and then there are more. So you can even, I think there's one called sites, if I'm right. Good, site should also be an inline element. But the inline level elements, if I've not shown you, they just stick inline, right? If you have an inline element and another inline element next to it, or even below the line, just like that, it will come and stick next to the line, just next to the code that you've written. Probably let me give an example, then you can see it clearly. So when I see part 1, when I type in part 1 and I come and type in part 2, right, naturally, or as we could imagine, that maybe part 1 will be on a different line, and then part 2 will also be on a different line. But for inline level elements like these ones, they just come to stick next to each other. Yeah, so the anchor tags is expected to come and stick next to this span element. So you can view that right here. Back to our text. Then what did I save it? I don't think I saved it here. Let me save it. Yeah, right. Good. So you can see part 1 next to part 2 just because they are in an inline element. So you can keep on typing part 3, part 4 right inside here, or whatever we do. Whatever we do is gonna stick inline to this, right, in just one line until we style it with CSS, which we're going to look at. So we can use CSS to specify that this should be a block element, and it's going to change the style of the, or the property of that tag for it to be a block element. So let's move on. Enough of the inline tags and then the block tag. So you can go and research on it. As I mentioned, there are numerous tags out there, and so I want to talk about more tags. Okay, so if I copy this, let me get rid of these ones. I hope you are already getting the hang of it. So yes, so I want to state certain tags also. So there are tags actually that don't have a closing tag. All right, so continuing, I wanted to mention or introduce us to new tags. So some tags don't have a closing tag. Okay, so as you could realize, every tag that we dealt with here has a closing tag. So the body has its closing element to be this with a /, and then h1 also has its closing element to be this with a /, ul with a /, li with a /. But there are certain tags that don't have a closing tag, and then I'll mention them to you right now. So we've already seen one already. This is br. We saw br. Br doesn't have a closing tag, but what it does is that it works, right? It works. It doesn't have a closing tag, but it works. It breaks the line for us. It works. So another one I would like to mention or show to you is hr. Okay, the hr, what it does is that it gives you an horizontal line, right? The hr element represents a paragraph level thematic break. Okay, so what they are trying to say is that it gives you an horizontal line, and then wait, let me save it, and then you can see. If you can see clearly, you can see that there's an horizontal line here. If I can zoom, right, so there's an horizontal line here. Okay, so that's what you can use to make certain divisions on your screen or on your web page. So we have br, hr, which other, there is another one called img, right? This img is for images. If you want to add images, you use this tag. So it's also a tag with no closing tag. So let me specify it here with a comment, and I'll say no closing tags. If it's a thing, no closing tags. There we go. And so br, hr, and img. So for img, we'll have certain attributes in it, but I'll introduce that to you later. So I want to see another one is input. Right, this input too doesn't have a closing tag. People normally do this, right? That is how it's done. And then we have certain attributes in it. I'm come to talk about those attributes now, since I've shown them to you.